So in that year, I retired from the BSF area team. I retired from them. I applied to and was accepted into a grad school. I, and then David and I both changed churches to this little church where this woman was teaching. And not long afterwards, they asked me to teach. And so now I'm on the pastoral team. And so that's a larger body of shepherds and teachers. And then I'm on a smaller body, 4-person teaching team, 2 men and 2 women. And that was transforming for me to have God's affirmation that, of course, women's voices are not only welcome, but needed in the church. In fact, when half the church is silenced, the church is impoverished because those half of the people in the church are not sharing their portion. And so in the body, just think of a human body, where half the body is not permitted to fully participate. What would it be like to live in such a body? But that's what's been happening. And so now I was in a thriving church where every voice counts, matters, shares their portion, and the experience is rich.
So you preach on an average of one Sunday a month right now? You're the preacher?
Yeah, I guess I guess you could call it that. I guess some Sundays I'm teaching, some Sundays I'm preaching, but we equally share the Sundays.
Yeah.
And so actually I just had a turn where I did 3 in a row. It was my choice because I wanted to build a head of steam for what I was going to talk about this past Sunday, which is 1 John 3:3 or 3:1-3, which is a powerful and lush passage. But we build up to that because it doesn't just happen out of thin air.
And I love the discoveries we've had offline. You're talking about your discoveries in the Gospels,
Yes.
especially. Well, let's shift and talk about your True 316 story. How did you discover us, and is it worthwhile, or what do you think about it?
Well, this is actually a wonderful story about how God uses the internet. And God is actually powerfully active in the internet. Who knew? And I had retired from BSF. And as you say, that was an intensive time, literally hours of time. And even though I was in grad school and I was in a new church and I was now had a teaching schedule, I suddenly felt like I didn't have a trajectory. I did, but on the other hand, it didn't seem like I did. So I kind of asked the air, if you will. I put a post out there. I said, I'm doing these things, but it kind of feels like I'm at loose ends. I'm not really sure what God has next in mind for me. And I think on that same day, you had a keen eye and your ear was attuned to the Lord's voice, and you wrote back. You said back to the air to me,
Yeah.
"Oh, I have a project you might be interested in."
I remember
And
that. I remember that post now. Yeah.
remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got to talking, and you had some wonderful workshops you were doing at the time. They needed to be on Facebook, or rather YouTube. And how shall we get the word out, and how shall we set them up, and so on. So we worked on that. I had no idea how to use YouTube. So I thought, well, I better make my own channel. So in case I make any errors, it won't hurt True 316. So I set up my own channel. I thought, oh, well, this is fun. So we got your channel all dolled up.
Now
And then
let me just jump in. My perspective on this was, you said to me, I like the Zoom workshops that you've done. I had 20 of them and I'd done over a year. And what's your YouTube channel, Bruce? I said,
yes.
I don't have a YouTube channel. You said, well, you really need to put that up on YouTube. And I said, that's a
Yes.
great idea, but I don't know how to do it and I don't have the time. There was a long pause. And then you said, well, can I do it for you? And I said, oh yeah, that'd be great. But I didn't know, you didn't know how.
That's right.
And yet you offered to do it. So then you taught yourself how to do it and then you did it. All right. So here's a
Yes.
commercial. People can go to YouTube now and they put in the @ symbol. It's the @TRU316. And that's our YouTube channel now. And we've got, tens, lots of people paying attention to our YouTube channel, and you're welcome to go on and subscribe if you if you haven't subscribed to this yet, and you're listening to this or watching this. Please subscribe at True 316. So now you did that. Keep going now. Sorry.
Well, and so I saw the material in these workshops, and it's really grand. And I think you had started podcasting, and so you had scripts that you were using, and I felt like those scripts really should be made available, and you agreed. And then we agreed together they really should be a book. And then I thought, if I were reading a book that was telling me things that I'd not only never heard before from the scriptures, but they were also things that were very unlike, one might even say the opposite of what I thought the scriptures were supposed to say because of other teachers, I would want to see for myself. I would want to go back to the scriptures and be able to piece together what the Lord showed you. I would want God to open my eyes to that. And so how would I do that? Well, with my BSF training, it just seemed like we should have some Bible studies. And you agreed. And so what did we do? We put together some books and we put some Bible studies in them, and we wanted them out there right away. And we wanted them to be at a price people could buy. So we said to each other, well, we're just going to self-publish then. Why not? This way we can price these books to an income that an ordinary person can buy books. And we're going to be able to have them say exactly what we want them to say, even though it might feel controversial in some circles. And so we did that. And we published those books together pretty quickly, I think. We got them all done.
So what
So
we
did
have
that.
now, what we have now is 4 books called the Eden Book Series. And each of the chapters, it corresponds to the first 4 seasons. So people can listen to this on the Eden podcast. Go back to season 1, 2, 3, 4. But then if you want the study guides and interact with it across the table with somebody or in a small group or on Zoom or however, Joanne wrote those study guides, and we ran them all by Joy, who double checked all these things. And the fun thing I think about it is that you can get the paperback and within a day or two if you're a member of Amazon Prime. But you also published them for us, Joanne, in Kindle ebook format, and we priced it at $3.16, which is because that seemed like a good number. So people can get that, and we have them also on Audible. So we're working hard to get the word out. And then somebody came along and said, we need to, Bruce, can you resurrect those Zoom sessions again? And so now what we do is we do 2-week long workshops. So there's the Eden workshop on Genesis 2 and 3. And there's the Beyond Eden workshop on Ephesians 5 and 6. There's the Back to Eden workshop on 1 Timothy 2 and 3. And there's the Because of Eden workshop on 1 Corinthians 11 and 14. And then for fun, we threw in 1 Peter 3. And all those workshops are just 2 weeks long. So if you go to true316.com/workshop, you can sign up for those and interact with the book, the study guide, and have a small group. And that's been maybe the best feedback we've gotten from anybody is, this is clarity and it's freedom, and it's a lot of fun. And then I asked you if you'd be my co-host on the Eden podcast.
Yes.
So I don't know what's next in our True 316 story, but this has been a big part of it.
Well, and also to see the Lord at work, because God is about community. We can see that all throughout the scriptures. In the very beginning, God did not want that one lone man to be alone. Certainly, that could have been the way. It was a perfect place to live. And that one lone person was in perfect communion with God. But God didn't want that. God wanted community for the human being. And God wants community for us. And God wants community for True 316. And so God began to add people to the team. And that began with workshops. And it has continued with, you have annual events in Minneapolis. And it's really continuing with people who have gone through the workshop and now are supporters of True 316 in a variety of ways. So that has been beautiful to see. God creating community in Truth E16. And it's fun to have other people to be together with. I enjoy it.
Well, it's been fun to have you and together with us right now. I can already tell we're going to have
Yes.
to cut this into several episodes. So we'll do that. The Joanne Hagemeyer story on the Eden podcast. Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks, Bruce.
Bye.